Greetings, welcome to Tifa's Tarot, and in this episode we are discussing the Hangman, but we're going to talk about it in the reverse position, okay? This card can sometimes be a little bit confusing, especially when it's in a deck, because when it's upside down, he's upside down, but when it's upright, he's upright, okay? Or no, I think I said that wrong. When it's upright, he's upside down, but when it's reverse, he's upright, right? So be careful in your decks if you are wanting to keep everything in the same side or position, right? This card is a little tricky because of its orientation, right? But let's talk about in the reverse position what this means in general, what it means for if you're inquiring about love and your relationships, what it means if you're talking about your career or finances, and finally, what does it mean if you're talking about spiritual matters. So when this card is in the reverse position, it really can indicate an energy that's involved with sacrificing for no reason. Maybe it could also indicate a fear of sacrificing things. It could show maybe like negative patterns or being detached from a certain person or situation. You might also be in a state where you're repeating situations that are really unfavorable, and it's like you're just doing the same thing over and over and over. It's like you're flailing around and you haven't really given yourself enough time or forethought to process how or what you can do to change your current circumstances. Okay, so why are you avoiding the changes that need to be made is what this card is really asking you, and you need to really give yourself some time to think of an extra strategy so that you can correct the situation. Okay, so if we are talking about in a love reading and this shows up, let's say in general, like it could show, it doesn't really matter whether you're single or in a relationship, this shows like a really toxic or negative pattern of behavior, right, that are constant. You're always like falling. It's like the example of like, oh my god, men aren't shit because you keep meeting the same type of people. But it's not the men per se, of course, right? It's the ones that you are attracting because there is maybe something about your frequency that is attracting the same people. So that's kind of what you, or the same people or the same situation. So that's really what you need to be worried about when this happens, right? This could show that you are just erratically running into relationships, and you really need to just slow down and kind of figure out what you really want and what a healthy relationship looks like. Okay, so specifically if you're inquiring about a relationship, this can pop up to show that there is kind of a fear of moving on, even if it's a really bad relationship. Maybe there are some toxic ties that are preventing you from that person leaving or you leaving that person. And even if this relationship could be saved in any way, this really shows that you need to have a realistic approach to facing the issues head on, okay? And really determining what the best course of action is. And of course, with this, I think I said this before in the last video, is like particularly with this card, because of the energy of waiting or acting carelessly, it's very important to pull cards to clarify the question that you're asking, okay? So let's say you get this and you are talking about career and finances, right? So this is a tall tale. This is a tall tale sign that things are not really going well at your job at the moment or your career, and maybe you've resorted to blaming the company or your boss or other people in some way, and maybe you are victimizing yourself. So this shows, when you're talking about a career, that there might be a certain level of delusion that's attached with how you're thinking, and it's really time for you to be realistic and to kind of take control of your career and maybe not be so passive aggressive about the manner, right? Understanding that you may not be able to control what other people do, but you can definitely control your reaction. You are only responsible for controlling what you can do. So just remember that, and if it comes out in a career reading. If this comes out and you're asking about your finances, right, this can show that you are like terrified about your current financial state, and you feel like maybe hopeless and you're struggling to cope with the hardships that you're undergoing at the time. So this is really asking you to stop burying your head in the sand about your financial woes. And if you really need to seek the help of a professional that can help to get your finances in order, okay? Maybe you just need a new perspective of what direction that you need to go in, that because you're panicking, you're unable to really get a hold of that, okay? So if this comes up and you're inquiring about your spiritual life, okay, this can show that you've really kind of neglected your spiritual self, right? In a way, maybe you've done that because you're not paying attention to that part of your life, and you've have just kind of preferred maybe like superficial ways of gratification that are really been preventing you from connecting to your higher self, okay? So this could also show you that your old beliefs are no longer serving you in any way, and they're really preventing you from getting the answers that you're actually looking for. That it's like you're looking in the wrong places for inspiration. So you really, at this point, when this comes out in a spiritual way, you are honestly being urged to kind of look into a new path that can renew your connection with yourself, right? And yeah, look for what's working for you, right? And do pay attention to your spiritual life as well. I mean, we have many lives that we have to live in this world. We have many hats that we have to wear. And I do believe that part of your life's lesson while you're on the earthly plane is to learn about your spiritual self as well, right? Don't neglect that part, okay? Be comfortable when you get to the end of your days to not be afraid, right? So to understand the transition or the process of life, okay? So this card is really just kind of urging you to take your spiritual side seriously, okay? So I hope that was helpful. So that was the Hangman in the reverse position, and yeah. So I hope to see you again in another video, and may you have a blessed day wherever you are.